Hello, friends from the comic world. My name is G,
And I'm Hector.
and we're here to talk about collected editions coming out in March 2023. Hector and we work for Penguin Random House, and so we sell directly into the international market. So the titles that you'll see today are those that we can sell worldwide. And then we represent those publishers and prints that I mentioned here, and you'll see in the slides following this. In terms of how we sort of like present these titles, Hector and we have several picks that we're very interested in reading and showing you today. Then we'll go over some highlights for the month of March, and then we'll show you some additional titles that you don't want to miss out on for March as well. You may see some, like if you watch our previous videos, there might be titles that either got pushed back or like it could be due to production changes with the schedule. So you might see titles seen previously also show up on this list as well. And as a last note here, aside from YouTube, definitely check out our not only our YouTube channel, but we're on other social media platforms like Twitter, Instagram, Facebook as well at PRH International Comics, where you'll find our posts on there. Definitely interact with us. Comment down below as well. Tell us your favorites. And yeah, we'll get started here.
Yeah. First off is one of my picks, and this is Dungeons and Dragons Ravenloft Orphan of Agony Isle. This is something that I've loved since it came out on the single issues. It's a mini series. It's only 4 issues, and they are all collected here in this trade paperback. And it is sort of a Frankenstein story. And in this case, there's the Dr. Victra Modenheim, so you can see a little bit of the Frankenstein connection in there, and Thrill, who's the character you see in up front. She following an answer. Sorry, Miranda's the name. She awakens in this mysterious castle, and she sees that this doctor, and she has no memory or how she got there, and this doctor is doing some experiments and some things, and she's trying to figure out what's going on and what he's doing and how she can get out. So it's a very cool sort of horror thrilling story. The other thing is that, oh, sorry, I forgot to mention that this is by Casey Gilly and Bailey Underwood. But the cool thing also is that Bailey Underwood did art throughout the series, but they also had, for each of the 4 issues, they had sort of an extra artist join them. There was Kyla Felty was one of them. Um, Sorry, I'm looking for them. Actually, Kyla Felty was in 2 of them. And then sorry, Corinne Howell was another one, and issue 2 was Vincenzo Riccardi, and this is what I'm getting at, because G and I are both fans of Vincenzo Riccardi, and we met Vincenzo and his wife in New York Comic Con. Such a nice person, such an amazing artist. So that's another reason I was excited about this book even before I realized that Vincenzo and before I met Vincenzo. So now I'm even more excited about this book. But the story is really good. It's really cool. It has some twists and turns in it too. So I highly recommend this as a read. And with Dungeons and Dragons, the movie coming out, even though this has nothing to do with the plot of that one, but this is another way to get into that world of Dungeons and Dragons through
Mhm.
this story. Yeah.
And we'll talk about later, but the prequel for the actual movie, the prequel for that is
Yeah.
actually coming out, and like you'll see it on this list as well, which is cool. So like you
Yes.
might as well, like if you're gonna pick up one,
Pick up the other
you're
one.
probably gonna
Yeah, I
want to
mean,
see
people
the
are
other
gonna
one.
everybody I think it's gonna get on the Dungeons and Dragons train once the movie comes
Hype
out.
train.
So
Yeah.
yes, definitely.
Right. Next up is my pick, and I've talked about this since last year, I think, when it was first
Yeah,
announced, because I'm so excited. This is Moth
yeah,
Keeper, and this is created by Kay O'Neill. If you didn't know, Kay O'Neill like blew up so much because of their Tea Dragon Society series, which like had so many rave reviews. Everyone loved it. If you're like me, like I
yes,
even got the collectible pins. Like I'm such a
yeah.
fan of their artwork. This is no different. The illustrations of the interior images are beautiful. This is a story about Anya, who is a moth keeper, and as a moth keeper, her duty is to protect lunar moths, and she needs to protect them because they're integral to protecting the night lily flower, which is also in turn important um to help the village thrive. Like that's integral to their economy in their village. And the night lily flower actually blooms once a year, so like she spends all this time, Anya, protecting the moths and the lily. And this role is a very honorary role. And so, like, she feels so much like she feels the pressure of doing well. And at first, like, she wanted to do this job, right? But then actually being in the role, like, she feels loneliness because she's the only one that's protecting uh these the flower and the moths, and typically like at night like is where she does this, and like it's nighttime, it's lonely, she doesn't really have many people to talk to, and so she decides at some point to maybe take a break from the nightlife, and then perhaps visit the sun. And is the question of what happens if you don't have a moth keeper to keep an eye on those what we've mentioned before, the moths and the flower here. And it also comes into question Anya uh, reevaluating the role and seeing if it's a right fit. Is it worth it to be a moth keeper? And so, like I said, very beautiful. So if you're a fan of Kay O'Neill, it mentions here, and I agree. Like if you're into like Witch Hat Atelier, like manga, like that sort of fantasy, almost like fairy tale like type of stories, this is something that you'll definitely want to keep an eye on.
Yes. Next is another one of my picks. This is Moon Knight Black, White, and Blood Treasury Edition, which collects all of the different last year, throughout last year. Now, for those of you who don't know, the Black and White and Blood um, comics, Marvel has been doing this with several characters like Wolverine and Elektra and Deadpool, where not only they play with the colors with the black, white, and blood, and it kind of highlight the red color. And it's only three colors that they use throughout the illustrations, but it's also in there are anthologies in each single issue that are all collected here are anthologies. So there's all these short stories. So they got several writers and several artists involved. I'm not going to mention all of them because yeah, I mean there's a few of them. I do want to mention that aside from Jonathan Hickman, which is there on the slide, also Chris Vakula was involved, Bill Sienkiewicz. Um, I'm trying to find some of the other names, but there's a lot of names, not just Jonathan Hickman was involved. And in this one, it also so there's all these great different stories, short stories. So if you love the character or you also are new to that character, this is a great way to get more familiar with the character, and different versions of the character show up in some of these stories. And at the same time, it these work and they're very beautiful. I love the way they've been doing it and how they work with the black and white and they highlight the red. And this one especially, it sort of stands out because with Elektra and Deadpool, obviously their suits are red, so that color is going to be sort of a main color. In this one, Moon Knight's costume is white, so it sort of gives the red a little bit more. It's more rare and it stands out more, I think. So I love the art throughout these. I love that each artist just did their own thing, and they did their own version of the black, white, and blood. And there's also coming up on the single issues and eventually in collected editions, there's going to be a Darth Vader one. And that one is going to be black, white, and red because it's not going to be blood, but the red of the lightsaber that's going to be highlighted. So I highly recommend it. Moon Knight has a huge hit for Disney Plus, but also the character, the current series is such a big hit, and fans are looking for more and more. And here it is. You can hand them more of Moon Knight with this.
Next up, we have Snow Angels Library Edition. This is my pick, but it's also both of our picks because we're
Yeah.
like very much interested in this. This is written
Yes.
by Jeff Lemire and illustrated by Jock. And this was a 2022 Eisner Award winner for Best Digital Comic. And
Hmm.
obviously, you'll have it in this physical, like very beautiful library edition, as you'll see here. And
Yes.
just so that you are aware, this does collect volume 1 and 2 into this library edition. So you're like, you understand what's in here. And the story is about Milliken and May who live in the trench. And if you don't know who the trench people are, the trench folks, it's basically a settlement that's living inside like these massive ice walls
Hmm.
with endless frozen trenches. And there are like several like tenets and rules to living in the settlement. And one of them is you can never leave the trench. So Milliken and May spend their whole lives here, born here, raised here. All they know is the trench. And at the start of the story, you see Milliken who has a birthday coming up. And in the society, the birthday ritual, and she's 12 years old, if I remember correctly here. During birthday celebrations, they go through a ritual. So Milliken, May, and Milliken's father, the father in particular helps takes them on a journey within the trench to go through
Hmm.
this ritual. And the ritual is like basic like survival skills, like learning how to fish, also hunting for wild game and so forth like that. But something happens. They they push the boundaries when they're not supposed to, and it like triggers and activates the defender of the trench, and the defender is Snowman, which is really cool.
Yeah.
And so they kind of have to like try to escape from Snowman. And this snowballs into a story of survival, of loss and redemption. It's a lot of fun to read through. So, yeah, this is definitely something that you want to keep your eyes on as well.
Very, very cool.
Hmm.
Yes. Next is one of my picks, Multiversity Teen Justice. I kept talking to G about this because I collected it as single issues. This is such a cool book. This is written actually so it's Danny Lore and Ivan Cohen are the writers, and Marco Faila is the illustrator for this. Um, so this is the story of Earth 11 and the Teen Justice, which is sort of the Teen Titans or Young Justice of that universe. And in that universe, all the characters that you know and love, their genders are swapped. So as you see here in the cover, Robin is a female. Aqua girl, Aqua boy is Aqua lad. Sorry, is a girl. The Supergirl that you see here is the gender opposite of Superboy. Clarion, the witch boy, is Clarion, the witch girl. You also have Kid Quick, who's female in here, and so also all the adult superheroes are gender swapped. So Batwoman is not Bruce Wayne, is Catherine Kane. So Robin, which would be the Damian version, his son, is actually his daughter Talia Kane. And then same thing with Aqua Girl. There's Aqua Woman instead of Arthur Curry. It's Ariel Curry, and I love that it was Ariel because it's the A, but also Ariel, the Little Mermaid. I think they might have done that connection too. And then there's Raven, and Raven is a boy, and the story is really cool. It's about them obviously trying to save the world, but there's this sort of hive mind cult that is taking over teens, and it's like picking up teens and kind of converting them to their cult, but also they have a plan to take over the whole world. uh on top of swapping the the genders, because it's a multiversity stories outside of the regular universe that we know for the DC comics. They do a lot of other things with villains and heroes turning bad and so forth. So it's very, very cool. It's a self-contained story in here, and I really hope they do more with this universe because I really, really love what they did, and I'm a huge fan of both Clarion the Witch Boy and Damian Wayne the as Robin, and I think I love even more this versions here, Clarion and the Robin who's Talia. They're so cool, and they kind of match what the characters are in the regular universe, but they have their own sort of personality, which is also great. Oh, and I forget Tickle the cat from Clarion. I don't know if they mention if they swap their gender because in the regular universe is a male cat, but I'm guessing they would. I need to find that out. That's like a key thing to find out, but I'm guessing they would swap the gender. Anyways,
Mhm.
it's really cool. It has a lot of action, it has some comedy in it that is awesome. It's a great plot. It also has a little bit of romance in it, which I also like. They sprinkled it through, which is in the right places at the right tone, which is great. So it's awesome, and it's end of the world kind of story. So they're all saving the world, which is what we love about comics, I think.
Mhm,
So
mhm.
that's it.
All right, and my pick is X-Men Red by Al Ewing. This is volume 2. And if you didn't pick up the volume 1, you definitely should.
Yeah.
I definitely wanted to highlight this because volume 1 ended on a kind of a cliffhanger, pretty big
Mhm.
one. It's like ends in like anyway, I don't want to reveal
No,
how it
don't
ends.
spoil it.
I
Don't
can't
say
spoil it. I can't be
it.
spoiling it. In
Yeah.
terms of premise, Mars is terraformed, and the society, or like the- it's Araco that you are it that is the setting of this story. And on Araco, on Mars, you have the queen reigning, who is Storm, but Storm has this thing where she doesn't want to, like, even though she kind of is regent of Araco, she kind of wants to be in a position of like, I don't want to say this word because it reveals things. Um, she forms a team, and I will stop at that. But basically, what you can get out of this and what interested me about this story is the political intrigue in this one, because you
Mhm.
have like various teams sort of like vying for spots. You have like the ruling council and the people in the council, some of them having their own like side conversations in the back. You have like Abigail Brand, who is the head of Sword, and trying to create like an X-Men on like her version, her team on Mars, and there's tensions between these different teams, all in like kind of like, which is weird because the end result is to protect Morocco, but it's a matter of like who comes on top type of deal. So there's like a lot of backhanded things that are happening,
Yeah.
and it's very intriguing if you like read through the politics of it all. And what also draws me into this is also the world building to sort of understand like who the people of Morocco is. They don't necessarily have to have powers, as you'll see with like one of my favorite characters, the Fisher King. And I love his interaction with Magneto, who's also in this as well. Like they're great together. I love them together. So like volume two is a continuation of that. I read volume one, so like I need to have the volume two to read further. So this is a very solid story
Yeah.
that you should check out. So
Yeah.
I hope
I
I
love
explained that right. Like it's like
yeah,
I
you
try
did.
to,
You did because you were
yeah,
trying to like avoid
avoid
spoilers,
spoiler.
which is great. But I was here kind of like I can't put my mouth my hand in front of your mouth, but I was gonna jump in. And gonna stop you if you were gonna spoil anything.
Yeah, I try
I
to not
I,
spoil
I love this
anything.
story too. And X-Men Red, it's cool. It's so cool what Ollie Ewing and Hickman and some of the other writers are working in this world have done with the X-Men. They have created this already big world, but they kind of connected it, and it's become such sort of a Game of Thrones type of
Hmm.
world, just the X-Men. And but it has its little corners like X-Men Red and Marauders and New X-Men and all the different teams. Um, and it's it's very cool because they have their own storylines, but then they cross each other every once in a while, and characters jump from one place to the other. It gets a little bit complicated, but if you really get into it, it's such a big, epic story. And when you see it all, it makes so much great sense. But at the same time, they do a really good job of compartmentalizing these beautiful and politically intriguing stories too,
Hmm.
which is the example with X-Men Red. They did really, I mean, Alien's doing an amazing job with this book.
Oh yeah, great. All right. We'll actually continue on with some highlights here.
Mhm.
As
Oh, is this
oh,
me?
yeah, 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 yeah.
Sorry.
It's all
I
good.
knew it was going to happen. Yes. So we're going to, like G says, we're going to continue with some highlights for the rest of the list. And we're going to start with Batman, Superman, World's Finest, volume 1, The Devil Nessa. This book, I mean, we don't have to comment a lot about these ones, but this one is very important because it ties into what's happening in DC Comic, and it's going to change the whole universe. But anyways, Big Pig, Bad Pig, sorry, Go Pig or Go Home by Rob Harrell. Big Ethel Energy, Volume 2. This is from Archie Comics by Kelly Brown Ahmed. Big Guy and Rusty the Boy Robot, second edition, written by Jeff Darrow and Frank Miller. And finishing up with in this slide with Blue Beetle, Jaime Reyes, Book 2, John Rogers, movie coming out later this year.
Hmm. All right. Continuing on with the highlights. Bruce Wayne, Not Super by Stuart Gibbs. I love having like elementary, I think they're elementary middle school like
I think they're
versions.
middle school. Yeah, yeah,
I think
yeah.
they're middle school. Now that I'm this age, I'm like, wait, are they that young?
They're that young.
Anyway, but I like younger versions of like superheroes and supervillains.
Yeah.
You could see how they were.
Yes.
Damage Control, New Employee Handbook, Adam F. Goldberg, and if you recognize that name, yes, it's like the producer of the Goldbergs TV show
Mhm.
who wrote on Damage Control. We mentioned this earlier, Dungeons and Dragons, Honor Among Thieves, The Feast of the Moon. This is the movie prequel comic. Various writers on this. So this is something that you definitely want to check out before you head over and watch the film. And then we have Gambit, Thick as Thieves by Chris Claremont. And then Genius illustrated The Life and Art of Alex Toth, and by various creators here, Dean Mullany, Bruce Canwell, and Alex Toth, as you'll see here.
And next, we continue with Infinite Frontier by Joshua Williamson, which I love his run of Robin, and he's doing a lot of things again, also with the Lazarus Planet, currently on single issues. But check Infinite Frontier. Jump Juniper May, Night of Hycotech City. I hope I said that right, by Sarah So. And then we continue with the Killlock, the Artisan Wraith by Livio Ramondelli. And from the Black Hammer universe, The Last Days of Black Hammer from the World of Black Hammer, written by Jeff Lemire, which we mentioned earlier before. And then Mish, the Bad Demon, #1 by Michelle Lamb.
Continuing on, we have some Omni editions that you'll see here. So Savage Avengers by Jerry Dugan. Omnibus, so you'll have the main cover as well as the direct market only cover. And then you have a new reprint of Silver Surfer by Dan Slotton, all red omnibus. So you have the main cover as well as the direct market DM cover. And then I'm so excited. I met Kemi Garcia at ALA. Lots of fun. She recognized me because I kept coming back to her. Anyway, Teen Titans, Robin. You know people are gonna go crazy over this. So
Yes.
this is great.
And we continue highlighting Thunderbolts back on Target. Jim Seb, which is collecting the miniseries for this team that came out in single issues last year, and I think, last year, at the end of last year. And then another omnibus, this time The Unbeatable Squirrel Girl by Ryan North, and we have just a regular cover and a direct market exclusive only cover. And last but not least, Windmaker Volume 2 by Roye Okube.
So that actually concludes our picks and highlights, but don't get off this video because there is more that is coming out in March that you'll see. We'll run those slides so you can see what else we have that we have to look forward to here. Really quick, remember, check us out on social media at PRH International Comics, where we'll post some news and information there. Definitely comment below on this YouTube video, but also anywhere on our social media platforms. We have a lot of fun doing this and hope you have fun as well. So yeah, thanks everyone for watching our video.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye now.